Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
And at that moment I got what an oracle was and what ancient people meant when they say that birds spoke to them, that a sign showed them the way, that a dream gave presage of the future. I suddenly got it all in a piece. And that's when I really decided to begin researching oracles in antiquity.
Now, a lot of people having an experience like that might have just sort of brushed it off and said, oh, this is a fantasy.
Well, there are two things I think that put me in a little bit different category. Number one, I was interested in these other ways of knowing and had studied parapsychology through many years of my life. But more than that, there was something about this experience which caused a particular jolt. That's the best word. Something that I knew this was significant.
Yeah.
It changed me. And one thing I've learned from my research is an oracle does tilt your direction a little bit. It does change you, so it's hard to ignore.
So a skeptic might say, you were looking at this flower, this camellia, and it appeared as if it was looking at you because of the angle and the shape and the form of it. But I think you're saying that it was more than that. There was something about your own inner experience that conveyed to you the distinct impression that there was another presence there.
I reacted, my body, my emotions, exactly as though there was another presence in the room. In fact, I looked around me to see if somebody might not be there. So it was more than a trick of the eyes. We've all had that, and they're fun. But this was a total experience of, in a way, mind, body, and spirit, which always are very important.
And the message, once again?
The message was, this is an oracle. And then it seemed to say to me, oracles are coming back into the world. And what that meant to me was this way of being in touch with the matrix of life, this way of getting communications from a source beyond the self that ancient peoples and native people used daily, that was coming back into our experience. And that I was part, it was kind of a job assignment, I was part of those that would help us remember. I think that's the best way to put it. Not to teach, but to help us remember.
Because typically today, and I know viewers of this program don't fall into the category of hardcore skeptics or Western materialists, because as you say, oracles are coming back, but still the traditional academic viewpoint is that, oh yes, in ancient times there were many forms of superstitious practices that they were known as divination, and those ignorant people believed that they could gain information about the future or spiritual insights by cutting open the entrails of goats or watching the flight of birds or smoke or clouds or throwing bones and things of that sort. And what you're suggesting is that there's more wisdom in those practices than the so-called modern mind can appreciate.
Well, yeah, you portray the Western attitude so well. Then we say, oh, how fortunate that we've gotten past that now, and we really know that a flower can never speak to you, and that birds can't give you any information, and that dreams don't really mean any more than maybe indigestion from the night before. That's the kind of logical, rational viewpoint that Western culture has really built itself on. But in dismissing all of that, we've dismissed a source of comfort, of guidance, of a sense of enrichment in our lives, and a sense of being more connected with a larger sphere of life than just our own individual little self and consciousness. And that's what I find so exciting about oracular practice and study, is that we begin to sense that we're linked to something beyond. And I do want to say that, you know, I've never found belief to be a really useful thing. It's like, you must believe. To believe is to sort of make yourself enter into something that maybe you don't really think is true. I say, well, look, let's not believe. let's just play around with it. Let's open to the possibility that we are part of a larger matrix, that it can be of personal use to us, and see what happens. And this is when I work with people, this is what I say, let's relax in an attitude of warm expectation about the whole thing and see what happens.